I was concerned from the get-go. I was pretty worried about it.
I just thought it would, something that might blow over, you know? You're just like, it can't hit here, you know, it can't hit home.
During spring break, it was pretty carefree. I was getting ready to have this big presentation I had to do, and there was just a lot of expectations set up for how the end of the year was gonna be. I was getting excited for it, really excited for it.
Everyone this year was like, 2020, it's our year, and that's definitely how we felt. We were like, all right, we've got this momentum, let's go with it.
When spring break happened, I thought, okay, let's stay home for a few weeks. A few weeks turned to month.
I started seeing these memes like, when this is over, it's Justin Timberlake, it's gonna be May. I was like, May? That's crazy. And here we are in August, and it's still a thing.
As everything kept being pushed back, it just started kind of losing hope and getting really not just scared, but just really angry and frustrated at God.
I am an introvert, which I thought meant I like to be home with my family, but apparently it meant I just like to be home by myself. I really love my kids and my husband, but they were there all the time.
Luke and I, one night, we were laying in bed. This was probably early March. We looked at each other and said, we cannot keep this pace. We can't do it. This is not sustainable. We had overcommitted ourselves to so many things. We were really busy. We had something almost every single night of the week, and on the weekends, life had really just taken off, and we weren't really even seeing each other as much.
I quit my job to jump into music full time, and it was literally 2 weeks later that COVID hit, and then they started shutting things down, which all of my shows I had planned canceled, and that's how I was making money.
I do design work, and a lot of my commercial jobs, those had to stop as well.
From March to May, I was working from home. And then middle of May, I got a call from my boss. It was one of those calls you don't want to have. Next day, showed up at work, and my number was up.
The very worst days ended up with me in my closet, literally the only place that I could be by myself, and on the floor, just crying my eyes out. My girlfriends would text and be like, how was the day? And I would say, well, I didn't end up in the closet today, so I guess it was better than yesterday.
When I had moved back in with my parents, I started seeing conflict arise in my family, and especially since we were in quarantine and stuff like that. And so my family was going through a divorce. I got a call from my dad but I don't know how to figure this out, and I don't know what to do, basically helpless.
I know that he is a God who heals and a God who takes away disease, and wondering why would you place this here? In all honesty, I was just really selfish and was like, God, why would you do this to me? On my senior year, I deserve this.
I worked hard, did it for the glory of God. So if I'm working for the glory of God, why did God allow this to happen? Why?
Honestly, I had a lot of doubt. I was doubting God's restoration and redemptive power. And I remember calling Dustin Pierce. He was the first to really pray boldly and expectantly for me, and it's very specific in bringing my parents back together. I was just praying things like, I just want them to be happy. You know what I mean?
We were just so busy and so overwhelmed. We welcomed some time. In Psalms 23, where it says, he makes me lie down in green pastures, and he leads me beside still waters. And I thought, that's exactly what he did. He made us lay down. He forced some rest on us, which we needed.
When I start to have the, but God, why me moments, am I still going to trust that God is faithful? I know he's faithful. He's been faithful in the past. He'll never leave or forsake. Do I believe what I profess? Do I believe that all my life is for his glory? So if so, how am I going to respond? Am I going to continue to glorify him, or am I going to run? The gospel is what is at stake.
The main thing that God really put on my heart was that if I'm not letting you go, it's because I'm not there, and you need to be okay with that. Okay, God, if you're not in graduation, I don't want to be there. And if you're not in these things that I was planning, then I don't want to be there.
We've never been in a place of surrender like we are now. And surrender is such a beautiful thing with the Lord. Surrendering your finances, surrendering your comfort, and how he blesses that is more of himself.
Through the process of being quarantined and being home together and this pandemic, I have seen God working in our family to make us more like him, more Christ-like. The fruit of the Spirit has poured out of my family like never before. We've had more structure and time to spend in the Word. We've had more time just to hang out and be a family and love each other. And that has all been such a blessing.
He's redeemed and he's restored my family in a tremendous way. They've always loved each other, and they needed a way for Christ to show them how to love, each other. And now my parents are a testimony.
During this time of rest, we were able to foster some friendships that we weren't able to do when we were so busy. So I knew them before, but I didn't really know them. Reevaluate what really matters, and people matter, and relationships matter. And so rather than filling a role, press into relationships and carve out time as we get busy. Make sure that you aren't putting yourself in a place where you can't go on a walk with a friend and really hear their heart and hear their story and meet them where they're at too.
When you go through a season like this, it helps us sit back and, one, learn the lessons God taught us in the season. Please, if you don't learn this lesson, you're going to go through it again. So don't do that. Surrender those lessons at the foot of the cross. Ask God, how do you want me to respond? And respond in a manner that brings him glory. Because the story is not about us. It's his story. It's God's story. How are you going to be a part of God's story?
I've also learned through this process to look for the ways that God is working, to look for the ways that he is being faithful. Every good and perfect gift is from above. And through the pandemic, that has been my theme and my motto. We're just looking for the gifts. There's plenty of hard things to point out, but the gifts, those you have to look for.
He's running the show, and I can trust him, or I can resist and focus on the negative, but there is good, even in the midst of really hard.
There are so many voices I cannot follow, but I know one I can follow, and that's his.
If your perspective isn't right with God and your heart is not aligned with his, you will see the world for how it wants you to see it.
Are you seeing the world around you the way God sees it? Or are you seeing it with you being the idol of your life?
I have never experienced the Lord like I've experienced him in the last 6 months. We're being reminded that the most important thing is a relationship with the Lord.
Our God is a jealous God, and he's going to do anything in his power he can to shake up our lives, to just get us to a place of full dependence on him. So easy to have God a part of our lives, but no, is God your life?
The story is not about us. Check your ego at the door. Check your ego at the door, and let's chase after the gospel.